we started about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago in relief, tearing down the house that Rob is repairing, rebuilding now. Here in Swannanoa, where I'm currently at, we started doing repairs to homes or rebuilding homes about a week and a half ago as well. So to date in Swannanoa, I think we have 2 homes that families have moved back into. We have 2 homes right now that hopefully we will be able to get them inspected and people will be able to move into them Monday or Tuesday of next week. And then we're at a standstill here in Swannanoa because we don't have any more permits. And we don't know
that's where
their
you
game
have
plan.
65 permits outstanding in Swannanoa, correct?
Yes, that's where we have 65 permits outstanding. So I made a decision last week to go ahead and open up another operation in Spruce Pines, try to get it up and running this week, to set up there to be able to help in Green Mountain, Relief, North Carolina, Spruce Pines, Burnsville, and that's basically Mitchell County and Yancey County, where the big organizations are not. The big organizations, nothing against it, but they like to come into a town where they can set up on one end of the street, put 100 volunteers out, they march that whole street on one side and do what they need to do, and then turn around and come back down the other side. The areas that me and Rob are talking about, you'll drive up this mountain, you'll see a house here damaged. You'll drive another little quarter mile, you'll see a house there damaged. You might drive a mile and you see another house damaged. Then you'll get to an area where there's 8 houses damaged. But then you might drive 5 miles and you don't see nothing, no damage. And then you get to an area where there's one house completely washed off the side of the mountain. I mean, that's what it's like up there. So the bigger organizations, they're not doing that. They're not going there because they feel like that they can't accomplish much because of, your base camp's 30 minutes away. You got to drive 30 minutes to get to the first house. Then you got to pack everything up and drive to the next house versus just going from house, straight down the street. So, and, I had to leave and come back to base camp. And, one goal or one promise I made to Rob stayed when I left relief, 2.5, 3 weeks ago. I made a promise to Rob and to a homeowner there, that we're building a house for right now, that we would be back and we would help them rebuild. And honestly, we have the time now. We're put on hold here basically in Buncombe County. So we're going to go back to relief in that area and, fulfill the promises that we made to these people that we would be back to help them. We wouldn't forget about them.
So on that, Nick just showed up.
Hey, Nick, how you doing?
How are you?
Look at that.
I'll zoom in here with a building permit that has a balance of 0 because Mitchell County is not charging for building permits for rebuilding. But this home that we're building in the background here is replacing the home that Nick had there. So, anyway, that's
congratulations, Nick. That's really exciting to get that.
Thank you all for everything you're doing. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for being willing to talk. It's really been challenging for people who have a heart to help and really want to be of assistance to know that what they're doing is having an impact and is going to people and making lives better. So if you're willing to talk a little bit about your experience, it would be very valuable for folks who are just trying to hear how they can be helpful.
Right.
So where are you living now?
I've got my own house. This was like a rental house. I rented it to my brother and my sister-in-law.
I see.
So FEMA wouldn't help on this where it was a rental. Obviously we was denied because we didn't have flood insurance. And that's whenever Rob stepped in and took care of the rest, more or less. So
So what's the prognosis for your house? Like now that you have this building permit, now what happens for your process?
well, we've got the shell up, or Rob's got the shell up. We just need what? Well, you know more about it than I do, Rob.
Well, so Nick's brother and sister-in-law, they were swept away in the storm. They
Yeah.
lived in that house. So we're rebuilding it to house other people in the community who lost their homes while they rebuild.
Right.
And so it's a duplex that's going to house kind of in their memory, help out other people in the community that need a place to live like now while
before cold weather or
Yeah.
colder weather hits, snowy. And
Rob,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry for your loss. Seriously.
Yeah, thank you.
So this will be a home that will provide a home for others while their home is rebuilding.
correct.
That's amazing. And you don't have to talk. It's okay if you don't want to, but there's kind of a burning question that's on the mind of people who haven't been able to be there or don't know people directly. What is it like right now to be in an area where so much devastation has occurred, and yet so many people in the United States don't even know that it happened or that everything isn't back to normal? Is that something you think about?
Yeah, I mean, they have been several people come out to help, but just getting everything more organized, and it's just a lot to take in. I really don't know what to say much, just to be honest
That's all
with you.
right. What would be
I think-
most helpful for you,
Get-
other
get-
than funds to be rebuilt? Like what would make your life immediately better?
just more volunteers, I guess, and just getting people back in their homes, instead of out in a motel room somewhere, and or in a camper or whatever. Get people more whatever you'd call normal right now. Just that would be nice.
Can you talk a little bit about what the job situation is like in your community, and how that, it's one thing to be normal with a roof over your head.
Right.
And that's obviously vitally important. But what are the other parts about life being normal? What about them?
Some people's, they're having a normal routine. They didn't have much damage to their home. Their business was okay. And then you got, other people that lost everything, and it's just, I don't know, it's just a lot to take in. It's really hard to explain, just to be honest with you.
It's like the people here who lived right down the street where nothing happened, they feel really guilty that they
Yeah.
didn't, and they want to help, but they don't really have any way they can help. So it's and you don't know.
It's not really a rich area.
Yeah,
It's
and
not really poor, but it's not.
but there's so many families here. Like, how many? You said you had 200 cousins in this,
I've got hundreds of cousins. Yeah.
and they're just affected up and down. The whole, so it's just, entire families, not just individuals, like just multiple generations of families that are all affected, that, they've got the heart and they want to help, but they have to have their normal, day-to-day jobs, and aren't able to help. And it's like they want to be out here, but they can't take off work. So, it's just makes it even tougher.
I mean, then you have, I mean, Nick, you have your own house that's damaged.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
I think, if I'm not
around the
mistaken, you have,
house.
yeah, around the house. And then don't other family members of yours have damaged houses as well?
Yeah, they're actually getting worked on as we speak. I was at my father-in-law's place just about 20-30 minutes ago, and they're putting a new roof on his house. So there's slow progress going on, but it's still going to be. I mean, if you're not around here and don't see what's going on and all the destruction, and I mean, it's just, well, Stephen, you was out here, you know what I'm talking about. It's just it's hard to explain.
I mean, the biggest, and I mean, I know that they're talking, but one thing I noticed, I was only there a week, and we seen Nick every day and all day.
Right.
But I mean, Nick's family's not the only family going through it.
No.
And the thing about it is up there, it's all families. So
Right.
you might have 4 houses that are damaged, and all 4 of those were family members.
Right.
And they're lost, and they can't come together and work on their own houses. I mean, they have to go. I mean, like Nick has been working with his, I think it's his grandfather
Mhm.
at the tire shop,
Right.
trying to help his grandfather keep the tire shop open and keep the tire
Right.
shop going. So I mean, other families are going through exactly what Nick's going through, and that's what people don't see that. And I know
And worser. They're worser too.
yes, they're worse off. And I'm one of the ones I don't like to put residents and victims on interviews or whatnot. But
Right.
we're at the point now that people
We'll
really
have
do not know what these individuals are going through. Um, unless you go to Relief, North Carolina, and I will tell you that, and you sit down with somebody like Nick and you listen, you'll never know what they're going through. I
Right.
mean, that's why, I mean, I'll be honest, Nick is probably the reason why Rob is still there, because of the story from the first time Rob and Nick met. You know, um, I would have still been there, but unfortunately I had to run an organization, and I had to come back to our base camp.
Right.
But, we made a commitment, and we will help that community the best we can. And now is the time that we're able to go there and give them all the help we can.
Right.
And they need it. I mean, you have churches there that we've been working on right down the street from Nick's house, a church that a pastor that is disabled, he's in a wheelchair. We've been working on that church. I mean, it's a couple miles from Nick. We have houses there that we've been working on. These people, their families, every one of their family members were affected. And if one wasn't affected, they're housing all the people that wasn't affected.
Right.
And
Right.
and that's what these. I mean, Nick. I'm pretty sure you'll agree. That's what everybody's going through there.
Yeah, there's nothing normal about any of it. I mean, we're not used to none of this. We kind of thought we was sheltered by all the storms or whatever, but it's just it's county wide. If you don't have to be around water. It's mudslides and just like I drove up Pensacola Sunday, I think it's Sunday, and I mean, just houses slid off side of the mountain. Just and then places you thought you remembered, you don't know where you're at. I've lived here my whole life. I'm 36 years old. And it's just on top of losing family and just seeing how the area is that you was used to as, from a baby on. It's just a lot to take in.
Nick, I would ask before I say anything, you don't mind if I share a little bit about your brother and sister-in-law, do you?
Go ahead.
Nick lost his brother and his sister-in-law. They had 2 kids.
Three
and
kids.
or 3 kids.
Yeah, and then 2 kids from a previous marriage, my brother-in-law.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Nick, by the grace of the good Lord, those kids were with their grandparents, correct? The night of the storm.
Yeah. Well, Stephen and Lena's daughter, they had together, and she's 8 years old. She'll be 9 this January. She was at my mother and father-in-law's, and a tree fell over on their house and broke and went through the ceiling in the living room and about killed her too. So
we have kids without parents now. I mean,
yeah, she don't have one of her parents. We're all chipping in to help raise her. Me, my mother and father-in-law, Elena's parents, and my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law. We're all working as a team to try to help take care of these kids too. It's been tough, you know.
What's it like to, as in individual families, to mourn the loss of someone you know is gone, but you don't have I'm assuming there wasn't a bodies to be recovered, so you didn't have a normal funeral, correct?
Yeah, I don't know how to explain that either. That's pretty tough. We'd like to find my sister-in-law to, make it a little bit normal, I guess you'd say.
I missed that part. You said you found your sister-in-law?
No, we have not. It would be nice to find her.
Oh,
That way we could have, a normal maybe funeral, and we done got a place beside Stephen to bury her. And we never got to see my brother-in-law's body. We never got to see a picture of him, so I kind of had a hard time with that. The whole family had a hard time with that. Everybody said he had to kind of keep in mind that he floated almost 30 miles down the river. They said we didn't want that image.
so, but his body was recovered and
Yes.
identified.
Yeah.
And
Not by us, but by the sheriff of Unicoi and the guy at Yancey Funeral Home, which I know him very well. I trust him, so it's been tough.
I'm
on
so
all of it.
sorry for your loss.
Even Rob, I mean, he's here right in the middle of it. So, and I thank God for Rob. Thank God for all of y'all.
Just know, Nick, that even though there's not a lot of attention on the national media, and it might be easy for y'all to feel very forgotten, just please know that there's like thousands and thousands of people who are rooting for you and are praying for you and are giving money, and just know you're not forgotten. You're not.
We can feel it. I mean,
I'm glad to know that. There was a woman who gave to our effort, who is on a fixed income. She makes $931 a month. And when she messaged me and said that she was giving, I was just so moved by that. Right. It didn't even matter what the amount was. It was just that she was willing to say, like, by the grace of God go I, and I want to help.
Right.
And I committed myself after that I was in this, and I was gonna fight for every single dollar that was given to be used well, and not to be just bought things to just buy things and fill warehouses, but buy things and bring things to people and look people in the eye and say, your life matters, your loss matters. The people in your community who perished and the people in your family who are missed matter. And it matters to me that you're able to go on and to find some peace and a place to be in the world. It matters. So thank you for your willingness to share your experience and fighting for the kids.
We thank you all very much. I mean, I don't know how to describe some things. Like like I say, we've never been through nothing like this, really. So like we'll be out in the grocery store or something like that, and people, how'd you make out during the storm? And then I'll have my wife with me, and you don't know to tell people that we lost family members and lost a home and almost lost our home and almost lost other family members, and you just don't even know how to even really talk to people out in public anymore. It's just, you don't want to kind of give them like a pity story or whatever, but And then, a lot of people looks at you like, well, why ain't you crying? We just cry at stupid stuff and you don't cry when we should. And then just, we're really, it's just hard to deal with, all the way around. And my biggest thing right now, I would like to see people get back in their homes. I mean,
Yep.
Are people in your community and your family able to house one another in homes that are still
What we're doing.
standing?
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Like we take turns watching the girls, and we, I've offered, like a lot of my family and friends, like when they didn't have power, they had their home, but they didn't have power. We had power a little bit before they did. Come on, get you a shower, come on to the house, stay with us. Some of them's had new babies, 2 or 3 months old, and all that. It's a lot. You wonder if people's freezing to death, and you wonder if they've got food, you wonder if they've got clean water, clean clothes, but a lot of that's been provided. Now it's just trying to get people back a little bit of normal. I mean, I can show you all the way up the river here, just people I know, family, friends, just like over here at Lindsay's place. I drove by him every day coming to look for my brother and my sister-in-law, and they was knee deep in mud. And his wife, Jean, she's got bad hip or bad knee, and she's just out in this muck and mud and just trying her best to scavenge what she can, and I drove by her every day, and that's not me. I'm not one to just drive on by stuff like that, but I had finding my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law so much on my mind that it would be nice to be able to help everybody. It's tough.
You're talking about, being forgotten. And that's the biggest thing right now, because in disaster relief, all organizations thinks once you gave out all the food and all the generators and all the heaters and everybody's got power back to their homes, that's over. It's over with. There's no more disaster relief.
Yeah.
And Nick knows this probably better than anybody, being up in the part of the mountain that he's at. They came up and dropped food off, Nick. I mean, water and food. I mean, I think right there at the old post office, there's probably still water sitting on the doorstep, if I'm not mistaken. I was there the other day.
They was, yeah.
Where organizations just came and dropped a bunch of stuff off, and they found out that area had a power back, and okay, this area is good. This area is good to go.
Yeah.
And it's not. And that's the problem that we're having, because the news media is not telling people that, yeah, people got their power back. But guess what? In a community of in a community of 200 houses, you might only have 20 houses that can get power.
Mm-hmm.
And no, we were grateful when we watched them guys come across that mountain that one day with fiber optic, and they come across the river with it. It was a great sight to watch them guys climb down the mountainside with that fiber optic cable. But everybody thought it was over then. It's time to be done. And that's not. I mean, we have to be here until everybody has a house to sleep in. And that can be back to normal. We're not talking about people just lost houses. They lost their cars and houses. They have no way to get nowhere.
Everything.
I mean,
everything.
Just right down, if I'm not mistaken, I think a couple houses down from Nick's house, right there where they're sitting, a family lost their house. And if I'm not mistaken, it was a family of 4 that lost their lives, correct?
Yep.
And I mean, in disaster relief, the news, people in this country and people that's small in disaster relief thinks all it's about is food, water, heat. And that's it. But it's not. It's a bigger picture than that, because these people are hurting. I will tell you that I went through relief on Sunday. I think I went and seen Rob with my kids and family. And, you know, we went up there and we checked out the house there that they were building for Nick. And things have changed. Debris has been picked up somewhat, but that's the only thing that's changed.
Right.
And nobody, I mean, I watch, I mean, Rob, I think you'll, and Nick would agree. There's not any organizations up there helping that much. You
Right.
know, it's actually the community helping the community right now.
Yep.
You know, and that's because there's not enough organizations. I'm not going to say just like us because, you know, I don't put us above anybody, but there's not enough organizations that will put in the effort to stay here for a year, stay here for 2 years. I mean, there's not people like Rob that quit his job and has been here, left his family 4.5 hours away, goes home and sees them for 24 hours, and then comes back home. You know, myself included, I do that. I have 8 kids at home. Okay. I quit my job and I'm here full time. I have guys on my team the same. I have you know, a husband and wife from Kentucky, 8 kids. They quit their job. They're here guaranteed for a year. We need more people that not, we don't just, I'm telling you, I know it's about, you know, raising money, but money's not the only thing we need. We need the volunteers.
Yeah.
What's going to happen in another couple of weeks is people are going to stop volunteering. We need the word to get out also that please come help, even if it's a day, even if it's 4 hours, if it's every other weekend, you know, whatever will help will help. I mean, yes, we need funds to help build these houses because I mean, Nick probably knows the community there better than all of us, and he'll tell you that I guarantee you none of the ones that he knows got an insurance check or a FEMA check.
Right.
You know, so
$100.
how are they? You know, yeah, a few $100s. How are they going to rebuild a house on a few $100s? And most of these people, I mean, let's be realistic. Most of these people didn't work because they're older.
Right.
They lived on the mountain. Their family worked, they saved money, and they're living, barely getting by.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't have the money sitting in a checking account to rebuild, and they don't have the volunteers coming. So, for the people that's going to be watching this, we really need volunteers also.
Yep. I agree.
Go ahead, Rob. I'm sorry.
But I'm just saying the ones that are making the most progress here is the railroad. They are quick to rebuild this railroad and don't really stop to check on anything else, but they are, you know, whatever they're getting up this mountain, coal or something is a really big priority to get repaired. So there's already a big contract on that. And we see a lot of engineers in fluorescent jackets from the railroad company to get that going. But other than that, you know, it's volunteers.
So one of the ways that we're hoping to be able to help is to start vetting some of those volunteers and having a form that they fill out so that we can then hand it to you guys and say, these people are, well, here's your contact. And so we're going to have that through Knowing Love Ministries website, and we'll get that up in the next day or so. It's actually up now. We just haven't let people know it's up. So people can go out to Knowing Love Ministries .org and fill out a form, how it's called Be a Neighbor. And then we'll be able to have a list of people who are willing to come, when they're willing to come, any special skills or equipment they're willing to bring. Could you guys describe a little bit, just so people understand, when you say we need help and we need volunteers? I know there's a myriad number of tasks and things that people might be doing, but can you give them some idea of what kinds of things that they might be doing?
I mean, go ahead, Rob.
I'm just saying that the whole gamut. I mean, a lot of, you know, there's construction work to do. There's still, you know, people that have gotten their belongings out of their homes. They just need cleaned with a toothbrush and soapy water. Just, you know, their dressers, their cabinets are just still caked. there's debris everywhere. It still looks like there's just trash everywhere, all on the rivers. It looks like a landfill just exploded and just bagging up trash.
It wouldn't take skilled labor just to help clean up the debris, just.
Are the counties, are the municipalities, if they're incorporated, coming to get the debris? How is that process working?
FEMA is doing that. They're giving out contracts to clean up the debris, but it's slowly.
But it's got to be, that debris's got to be within 25 feet of the middle of the road.
Yes.
So all the debris in the river, on the riversides, on the roads, like in the yards, and that's blown and washed everywhere, is not getting picked up. That stuff has to be gathered and put by the road for someone to pick it up.
Yeah.
And if you don't get it by the road, you got to pay $45 a ton to haul it to the landfills, because they're not allowing just individuals to haul to the landfill for free. I've been fighting that since we got here. They're not allowing us to haul for free to the landfill. I mean, if you could have seen relief the night that I pulled in at 11 o'clock with a convoy of about 12 or 13 trucks when we pulled in. When I woke up the next morning and it was daylight, I will tell you that I guarantee you there was 7,000 dump truck loads of debris up and down the river, of, trees, houses, cars, that is slowly, barns, yes, everything slowly getting out. We found people's personal belongings. We found a car one day that had the lady's wallet in it, still had money in it. We were able to find that lady, return that car to her, and return that wallet. I think somebody on our team found a Christmas ornament with a ultrasound picture in it, and it had the lady's name on it. And he was able to track her down, and she lived like 6 or 7 miles up the river and was able to give her that Christmas ornament back. And now that's because we were going through that debris at that time, piece by piece by piece. We won't go in. I mean, we were hand pulling out this debris, looking for remains, looking for, people that were still missing in that community. And we were finding, a lot of stuff, but there is a ton of debris left. And yes, we need help with that as well. We need more heavy equipment up there. We need more dump trucks. We need gravel. You need dirt, and that's the things that we can't get right now because the DOT, the state of North Carolina, has all the rock quarries on lockdown.
Yeah.
They're the only ones that can get the rock, so for somebody like Nick that has a washed out driveway, if he has one, I can't get rock hardly to even repair that driveway. But we're quick right now on bringing dump trucks and tractor trailer loads of rock in to repair the railroad. And I mean that, I see it every day and every night. We're bringing in, coming right here by my base camp, I'm on the side of the interstate. And for the last 2 weeks, they've been running rock 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to rebuild the railroad. We're quick for that, but we're not quick to rebuild our roads and to help the communities to get to their houses. We have I'll give you an example. We have a housing community that's a private road. Right now, they've spent $60,000 worth of rock on their private road. It's still not passable. We've had a heavy equipment there repairing it. They still need 100 loads of gravel to get their road fixed so they can get back to their house and be back to normal. Nick and them need dump trucks. We need a way to be able to afford to pay to haul the debris off. Because the guys that are there now, if I'm not mistaken, Rob, when they're done with everything that's on the side of the road, they're leaving, correct?
I would imagine. They've been here. Well, they're going to clear the island too.
Okay.
So they got to do the road and the island.
So any debris after they leave is up to the homeowners.
But all this river bank that's between homes, like no one's going to touch that.
And that's kind of the economy around here too, is the river.
Can you explain that more, Nick?
that's kind of like the economy around here too, is the river. You know, people come to this area because, well, take for instance, they call it the Gorge, Lost Cove, in that area. Yeah, I forget what class rapids it was, but now it's just so full of rocks and so full of silt that, you know, nobody's gonna be coming here to just tube down the river, you know, which it's nasty too right now. So
And that was a significant source of revenue in the area, correct? Is that there was tourists who came,
right,
people got river rafting tours, they were buying food at the restaurants, they were staying at the
Yeah.
hotels, and that
Yeah.
provided jobs.
right,
Multiple campgrounds here, all on the riverbank,
gone.
just gone.
completely gone.
So, you know, one thought is if we can get some campgrounds going, then we can, you know, have places for these campers, and then, but the banks that they sat on are just not there anymore.
Yeah, and that's another problem about the homes too. There's nothing to build back on. You know, I mean, there's the dirt, rocks, everything's just gone. So if you don't have enough land to put more up on the mountainside, or you know, then you just don't have nothing.
You literally don't have a foundation. It's not just
Right.
that the house is gone, but everything that was under the house is gone.
Yeah, yeah. So nothing to build back on too. And I've seen that all through here. Well, not all through here, but a lot of it, Pensacola and that area, and several places down through here like that, down Cane River. And you just really don't know what to do. That's when you have to have more machinery to dig out the mountainside to fix a place to put a new home back in.
I think that's one of the things that's really difficult to grasp for people from a distance is the scope. So we're talking about an individual community right now, relief. And Nick, you're so generous to talk about your family. But I think it's really difficult for people without going in a helicopter or seeing an aerial view from a camera to see how wide and how far this really travels. And even you know, Nick, your situation is hyper local, right? You have 2 kids to take care of who now don't have parents. And you have so much, just the trash itself is overwhelming, and you don't even have to go farther than you can see, and you have more work than you could deal with for months.
Yeah, years.
So how, like, in the scope of your community, not speaking to the wholeness of the length of this storm or how many hundreds of miles, or that's beyond what I think our human abilities are to wrap our heads around. But can you give people a sense, just in your community, the scope of the damage and the loss? I'm not talking statistics. I'm not asking you for that. I'm just saying, like, do you feel that there are just pockets of extreme loss and a lot of the community is normal? Or do you think most people in your community have had life-shattering devastation one way or another?
Most people, they've actually been suicides the first week after the storm. There was a woman that worked with my dad. She committed suicide over all this. So it's messing with people's minds. So it's messing with them mentally, physically, financially, and some people spiritually, you know. Like I say, I've got a loss of words on a lot of it, you know. Cause this is my community, my family, my friends, and even the area, you know, is a part of me, and it's all just feel like it's destroyed. But it's just going to take time to get back to somewhat normality, whatever that is, you know. So yeah, just getting people back in homes will seem more normal to me, I guess. if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I know it sounds
Like
like
a
a rant, but
A foundation to build from. I mean, it's very difficult to help others if you're not even in your own home, right?
right. Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Rob?
I think it's time for dinner.
Well, I really want you guys to know that I really, really appreciate taking the time to talk. And Nick, I appreciate in particular your openness and willing to speak. I
Thank
thank you. I really honor that a lot. And thank you for being here.
We love everybody and thankful for everybody's love for us and prayers and donations and just keep on thinking of us, and we'll pray for you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Nick,
Rob. Thank you.
Nick, I would like to say thank you, Nick, for coming on.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
wasn't expecting to see you today on
Yeah,
here, so
Good
I
to
was a
see
little
you.
surprised. Hey, I'm gonna be back up there by Friday, so I'll see you this weekend.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
Love you guys.
Thanks so much, Rob. Nick, God bless you. Thank you.